All right, great. Okay, congratulations. You've done all the textbook sessions. Okay, so you all done all the chapters in the textbook sessions. Okay, this is a transition. So today we are to do presentation and exam, two things. Okay, presentation is all about technology, and exam is the topics we covered. Okay, so far. Okay, so we are going to do presentation first. Okay, because of time wise. Okay, time wise. If we start the exam, probably some people should wait, okay, for others because individuals are different. Okay, so presentation we go together, and then exam individually. Okay, then we can save our time. Right. So presentation and exam. When you do presentations, each member, so one of your team member will be denoted as a presenter. Okay. So if I denote you as a presenter, you will see a sharing screen button. Your right, button right is shaped like a monitor button. You can click it, then you can share your screens. Okay, so your PowerPoint will be shared with everyone. Okay, and also you evaluate all the team's presentations on Canvas. Okay, the 1 to 5 scale. 5 is the highest point, and 1 is the lowest point. Okay. Before we go, I want to make sure everyone has a good connection. Your audio, video, everything's ready to go. Please say yes. All right, thank you so much. So let's go. It's a fun time. Presentations. Okay. First thing, I just want to make sure. Please go ahead, Canvas. Okay, under the keys. And now you will see presentation one. Okay. And click it, and you will see it. All right, question 1 is evaluate team 1 here. 1 is the lowest, 5 is the highest. Okay. And question 2, evaluate team 2 here. And question 3, evaluate team 3, question 4, and so on. Okay. So you can evaluate, okay, all the teams' presentations. Okay, all the teams' presentations. Okay, got it? You ready?
Where do we find that on Canvas, Dr. King? I'm sorry, I'm not seeing it.
Canvas, under the quiz, and you will see presentation 1.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, you evaluate your own team too. Yeah. 5, 5, 5, 5. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. Okay. So, we have 6 teams, and which team wanna go first? Okay. Very casual meetings. So, which team wanna go first? Group 5. So, group 5 is about battery technology. Okay. And the next, Emily, who is gonna be your presenter? Presenter will control your PowerPoint slides. All right, group 5. Group 6. Okay, Emily will be the presenter. And group 1. What a learning curve. We are very efficient communicators. Okay? All right, group 6. Emma. All right, group 5. Emily. All right, and group 2. Group 1, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, then group 4. So we have everyone. All right, so Emily. Emily. Emily, now you are the presenter, so you will see okay, the share screen button, right? It shapes like a monitor button. What is this? Emily? There's something wrong.
Sorry, I'm having technical issues. Can you see it or?
Uh, Probably we hold up, please. I don't know. I don't know what I did or you did something wrong. Uh, no, it should not like this. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, what happened? Let me check this. Hold on, please.
Um, did I hit the draw mode by chance, Dr. Kang?
Actually, I am removing whiteboarder cells. Why? I don't know why. Everyone has this.
Okay, I didn't see an option to share my screen, and I clicked the thing that looked the closest, and I think it was the
Oh,
whiteboard, maybe on accident or
yeah.
something.
Hold on, please. Give me a second. Give me a second. I'm
Okay,
gonna do this one first.
yes, sir.
I have to do everyone. Oh, it's not good. Uh-oh. Oh, it's not good. So nobody can access the whiteboard right now. I'm gonna wait. All right then. Emily.
Yes.
Where you are? Come on. So now, Emily, you will see the bottom right.
Gotcha. Yes, I see it now.
Okay. Click it. Okay. Now it is working. Okay. Batteries.
Perfect.
Electrical case study. All right. Emily's team 5, right? Team 5. So everyone, are you ready? So as soon as your team ready, please go ahead. This is your stage.
Thank you, Dr. Kang. Sorry about that, y'all. But we are group 5, and we decided to take our topic of batteries and concentrate it around electric vehicles to be a little more specific. And we'll be diving more deeply into its environmental and financial factors. But first, I'll go ahead and start us off with a brief history. Beginning of a series of breakthroughs in about the 1800s, there were innovators in Hungary and the Netherlands and United States who created some of the first small-scale electric cars. Specifically, Robert Anderson was a British inventor who developed the first crude electric carriage around this time. And then later in the 19th century is when the world truly began to start seeing more practical electric cars. Focusing in on the US, the first successful electric car was made and made its debut in about the 1890. And that was thanks to William Morrison, who there's a picture of on our slide. And he was a chemist who lived in Iowa, and his 6-passenger vehicle was actually capable of performing at a top speed of about 14 miles per hour. And it was a little more of an electrified wagon, if you will, and that's pictured right on top of our slide. And it helped to spark interest in electric vehicles. In about the next 10 years, our economy started to see a lot of more strong sales around the electric vehicles. And so a bunch of different automakers began popping up across the US in cities like New York, had a fleet of more than 60 electric taxis. By about the 1900s, the electric cars were at their heyday, accounting for about a third of all vehicles on the road. And next, Bailey will be giving you all a little more insight into financial factors.
All right.
This one's actually me. I'm going to be talking about the environmental impacts of electric vehicles and the batteries. So emissions, the average car emits 4.6 metric tons of CO2 per year. That's equivalent to burning 5,000 pounds of coal. And unlike internal combustion engines that produce harmful emissions, electric vehicles produce zero tailpipe emissions while driving. The environmental impact to charging depends on what is powering the charger. If the charger uses renewable energy, then the emissions of the EVs, the electric vehicles, would be greatly reduced. Many charging stations are moving towards renewable energy sources for power, but at home charging, not as much. Even when these stations are powered by coal, they still produce less carbon emissions than traditional vehicles. Lithium and cobalt mining, which are the main ingredients in lithium batteries, is destructive to the environment. It strips the land of non-renewable resources and can cause harmful chemicals to pollute groundwater. There are also some human rights issues when it comes to these mines, as there's a lot of exploitation and dangerous working conditions with it as well. And that is my slide. I'll pass it to the financial impact.
Thank you, Wesley. I was able to talk with my fiance's parents who have a Toyota RAV4 Prime, which is a plug-in hybrid, which just means that it can drive on gas as well as the electric battery. And although the environmental impact was considered by them when they were purchasing a new vehicle, I think the financial benefits were definitely something that they were more interested about. So there was two major financial benefits that they focused on when I was talking to them. And the first one was the tax break that they received the first year that they purchased the vehicle. And that tax break kind of depends and changes based on the state that you live in. And they're currently in Kentucky, so that tax break was $7,500, which is kind of a large sum for 1 year, and just because they purchased a hybrid vehicle. The next consideration was how much they travel and the money that they usually spent on gas with their older vehicle. They live close to downtown Lexington, so they're able to walk to work as well as different places around town, so they aren't driving a lot every day, if at all. So on a full charge, their vehicle can go 42 miles, which on a typical day, they're not going to usually drive that far. So they won't use gas very often unless they're driving on the highway and go out of town. So their gas prices or gas costs are a lot lower compared to what the vehicle they had before. And lastly, we were interested in the impact on their electrical bill. Since they have to use the electricity to charge the vehicle at home, we thought that they might notice a change in the monthly electrical bill, but they actually don't. They feel like it's probably just a few dollars per month, so nothing substantial. I will now pass it off to Emily to go over the future of electric vehicles.
Great.
Thanks, Bailey. There's been a variety of different forecasts for the rate of electric vehicle adoption over the next decade, but many of the forecasts expected strong adoptions for the future. So one forecast by S&P Global Mobility said that sales in the U.S. could possibly reach 40% of total passenger cars by 2030. And more optimistic projections foresee as much as 50% by 2030. But the number of electric vehicles on the road jumped from about 22,000 to over 2 million from the 2011 to 2021 decade. So on the screen, there's some factors for driving up demand for electric vehicles, as you can see there. But the top reason was environmental impact, which Bailey touched on a little bit. And there's also a more wide range of options, so including larger vehicles. So trucks and SUVs accounted for 78% of new vehicle purchases in 2021. So companies like Ford that introduced their all-electric Ford F-150 realized the importance of making these larger vehicles electric so they can diversify their options for the market of electric vehicles. And then a improved vehicle range is another factor. So the battery and range capacity have greatly improved, with a median of 68 miles on a single charge in 2011 and a median of 234 miles on a single charge by 2021. This is expected to increase with further advances in battery technology. And an example of this would be Tesla. They're working on a battery pack for more than 400 miles of range. And then lastly is, of course, saving money. So the yield for electric vehicles is about $8,000 to $12,000 worth of savings on car maintenance over the lifetime of that vehicle. And battery pack costs should continue to fall as well, which will bring electric vehicle prices closer to that of conventional cars. And now I'm going to pass it along to Abby.
So now that we've discussed a little bit more about electric vehicles and batteries and their impact on the environment and your wallet, some things that you can do now to think about bettering your own environment and your own wallet of yourself and your business. Consider driving electric or hybrid vehicles, as we've discussed. That is not only really good for the environment, but also easy on the electric bill and saves a lot of money in gas prices. You can recycle or properly dispose of your own batteries from home. It is safe to throw away single-use batteries most of the time, those alkaline batteries in the back of your remote. But rechargeable batteries or larger batteries, such as one in a traditional car or an electric car, need to be properly disposed of, or else those toxic heavy metals can seep into our earth and hurt our environment and ourselves. So it's really important to either wrap those up properly when you're throwing them away or taking them to a recycling receptacle. You can use these websites that I've listed here as great websites to find options for recycling your batteries, all types, including those car batteries. You can, for example, if you go onto those websites, you'll see that in Rome, Georgia, you can go to the Home Depot or Staples to recycle your rechargeable batteries. And then finally, thinking about your business strategy, because we are all about to be MBA grads, praise God, and we're managers, we're entrepreneurs, and it's important to consider that triple bottom line, the incredible impact of philanthropy and taking care of your environment. And so a lot of business strategies are now including this, such as FedEx. They have promised to make their entire fleet electric vehicles only by the year 2040, which is huge as a big company that adds a lot of emissions to the environment. So these are just a few ideas of ways you can take this into the future. Thank you for your time.
All right, great. Okay, electric vehicles and batteries. Okay, a lot of connections. Any question, comment about Team 5? It's a pretty nice presentation. It's very informative, okay, concise, and nice. So, I just wanna talk about some better technologies because this is a good example of what drastic innovations. Drastic innovation means that actually this kind of innovation actually removes the existing market or significantly change the existing market. Okay? Disruptive innovations. Batteries and electric vehicles are good examples of disruptive innovations. Okay? Electric vehicles, think about that. It has a long time history, more than 100 years. And at the beginning of the electric vehicles, until recently, actually, not many people wanted to have this innovation, this technology. Think about that. The existing automakers, they wanted to see electric vehicles? No, because it changed their market. They already had the existing market portions. Then what changed? I don't want it. Yeah? So actually, they try to bumper the development of electric vehicles a lot. Okay? And battery technologies too. Battery can be anything. Anything can be battery if any material just flows electrics. Your body can be a battery too. Anything, okay, can be a battery. Okay. So this time, lithium is the main resource, main ingredient of batteries, but there are many alternative materials. Okay, think about that. If you have a superior capability to make a lithium battery, okay, then you wanna any change from lithium to other materials? Probably not. Okay, so this is the disruptive innovations. But these days, full cell technology is emerging, and it is being developed a lot. Okay, so probably we will see some transition in the battery technologies too. So innovation technology. Why we care about it? Because it reduces cost, increase product differentiation. We talked about that, right? Then, why we care about technology? Because it changes market. Changes market. Battery market is a really, really good example of changing market drastically by changing what? Materials. Okay, good, great. Nice presentations, very concise and informative. All right, any question, concern about Team 5 presentation? Can I move? All right, then who's the next? Team 6. Team 6. So Emma will be the presenter, right? Emma, now you're the presenter. So you will see the bottom right share screen button. All right, and it's working. Artificial intelligence, nice topic.
All right, so are we good to go?
I think so.
All right. Are we good to go, Dr. Kang?
Yes, you are.
All right, sounds good. Well, for Team 6, we did artificial intelligence, and there's a lot to talk about with artificial intelligence. So we really wanted to kind of focus on how it affects our own individual jobs, because nowadays AI pretty much has its reach in just about everything in some way, shape, or form. And so we're going to kind of go over what is AI, just kind of like a general explanation. AI in data entry, which is what I do. AI in healthcare, which is what Ashley does. AI in recycling, which is what Emma does. And AI in football, which is what Luke works with. So we will go on and start with the intro here. So what is AI? Well, artificial intelligence is a series of algorithms based on the human brain that enable a computer to learn broad skills from experience and repetition. And they mean repetition. When they are training these like AI bots, it is through tons of supervised and supervised techniques and like reinforcement techniques. So a lot goes into this. The computer learns by processing massive amounts of data, looking for patterns to model in their own decision making. AI is pretty much applicable in most any field, which we kind of get into today since we have such varying fields that we're all in right now. And it's especially as science continues to advance, because where chatbots are nowadays, especially with like ChatGPT, compared to where they were even 10 years ago, is a massive difference. And then AI and machine learning can enable companies to increase efficiency and quality of certain jobs while decreasing costs. And while a lot of people would think that this may lead to further unemployment, which it may in certain instances, it also frees up employees to focus on other things too. So we will start with myself here in data entry. So I'm the data and gift entry specialist for Barry. And so how would this affect my job? Well, overall, for most data entry positions around America, the AI will probably end up replacing a lot of them, if not most of them. Overall, it saves time and money through automation and speed. As I just mentioned, it like allows staff to be open to more meaningful work, because like data entry can be monotonous, it's time consuming. There's a lot of it these days, especially with how much data that we capture. So having something that's a more automated process will obviously increase the amount that's getting done and decrease the expenses on labor. It reduces the risk of human error, which ends up decreasing the reliability and quality of the data. And then, it basically just speeds up the data capture and allows for even more larger and complex amounts of data to be able to be processed. So overall, and especially in more simple terms, it does say complex amounts of data, but like when the institution is a little more simplified, then it's a lot easier for AI to capture this data. And kind of going into it, we're going to talk about the cons here of it. So if the task is ambiguous, contextual, or irregular, the AI may have trouble processing this. It may struggle inside a company, industry, or institutional, or may struggle with inside company, industry, or institutional knowledge, such as acronyms or abbreviations. And kind of getting into the way Berry College works, Berry has a way of doing everything that is their own way. It's there is a lot of like institutional knowledge, very specific context that goes into it. So even if Berry were to implement an AI system in the future, it would probably take a lot of supervision and training for these like this AI to be able to learn all of these certain very specific situations that Berry presents. AI, and getting into that, yeah, AI requires lengthy initial training, supervision parameters, and reviewing and correcting the output until they meet standards. And so, yeah, this can take a while, but ultimately, like for companies that maybe aren't like Berry, it's probably going to be worth that investment. And then it could also raise legal and ethical concerns if dealing with sensitive information, and kind of going back to what I'm doing here, which is not just data entry, it's gift entry. So I deal with a lot of financial information, a lot of private and sensitive information that may raise those exact concerns. So I'm not don't see Berry implementing this anytime soon. However, this is quickly growing and like throughout the rest of our nation. There are tons of AIs out there right now that do exactly this. But we're going to move on to Ashley, who is going to talk about healthcare AI.
Hello, everyone. So I'm going to go over 5 ways that AI is being used in healthcare currently. The first is robotic surgery. Robots can analyze preoperative medical records to better guide a surgeon's instrument during surgery, which has shown to be able to reduce a patient's postoperative hospital stay by up to 21%. Robot-assisted surgery is considered minimally invasive, so patients will not need to endure large incisions or the healing of large incisions. One study suggests that robot-assisted procedures resulted in 5 times fewer complications compared to surgeons operating alone. Another way is virtual nurse assistants. They are available 24/7. They can answer questions, monitor patients, provide quick answers, and they can then direct patients to the most effective care setting. It's estimated that virtual nursing assistants could potentially save the healthcare industry $20 billion annually. The third way is to aid in clinical judgment or diagnosis. While this function is still really in its infancy, there have been some cases where this has been successfully used. One of those being a Danish software AI company tested its deep learning program by having a computer listen to live emergency calls with human dispatchers. They used an algorithm to analyze the person's tone, what the person was saying, and the background noise. And they successfully detected cardiac arrest with a 93% success rate compared to the 73% rate for humans. Another way is through administrative tasks. So technology such as voice to text transcription to order tests, prescribe medications, and write chart notes. These uses of AI are estimated to save healthcare over $18 billion. And finally, image analysis. An MIT-led research team developed a machine learning algorithm that's capable of analyzing 3D scans up to 1,000 times faster than what is currently possible. Having more of a real-time assessment could provide critical information for surgeons while in surgery. So while healthcare is a very complex world, AI tools can obviously support human providers as they work to provide faster service, diagnose issues, and analyze data to identify trends, genetic information, or someone's predisposition to a particular disease. In the end, saving minutes can save lives, and AI in healthcare is definitely a tool that can assist healthcare and each patient as well. And now I'm going to hand it off to Emma.
Maybe.
Yes.
There we go. All right. Thank you, Ashley. I'm going to talk about AI and recycling, a really exciting thing that is actually potentially coming, hopefully, to Rome soon. Within the next 5 years is AI in recycling. So a company, a small startup that was probably funded by corporate venture capital and all that fun stuff that we've learned about, called AMP Robotics. They're based out of Colorado. They've developed an AI-powered robot that helps reduce contamination in the recycling stream. So this robot, their platform is called AMP Neuron, and it uses machine learning to identify different containers. So you may have a LaCroix can, which is an aluminum can, but you might also have a Coke can, still aluminum, but different packaging. So their AI system has allowed them to identify 70 billion objects annually. So you're taking tons of material out of essentially what's a waste stream, and you're capturing that valuable material. And then you can also reprogram these robots to capture whatever you want them to. They don't have to be set on picking cardboard or picking aluminum cans or plastic bottles. So that's a really exciting development that is being put into use in local municipal, we call them MRFs, but recycling plants. And we're excited, hopefully, to bring this to the 2023 SPLOS. So if you live in Floyd County, vote in November. And that's my sales pitch. I'm going to turn it over to Luke to talk about AI in football.
Football.
How we doing, guys? So, I work as a graduate assistant for the football program. So, currently at Barry, there's not AI in our football program, and it's definitely new to football in general. But it's something the NFL has started using, and I'll show you all kind of why it's really taken the game of football in kind of a new direction that's been such a just a human, really human led game. So first, player evaluation. So AI has been able to evaluate players on whether they have a win rate, whether they can successfully do a job or block a player or run a route successfully. And that AI has started to basically watch every single NFL game and determine kind of who are the best players by how fast they're able to run and basically how productive they are on the football field. And this is also kind of started to trickle down into major college football, where the NFL kind of uses this to evaluate players, where this kind of takes the human element and the human bias out of evaluating players. Next is kind of the game planning element of football. So they've created an AI in the NFL that will actually scan players' bodies at the beginning of every play, and we'll see basically their joint angles. And it tells them, like, when this player is standing slightly taller, they have a higher chance to run this play. When this player is more bent over, that's a higher chance to run this play. So the AI basically gathers all the data from the game and says, hey, in this specific situation, there's a better chance that they'll run this specific play. So it really helps with kind of game planning and understanding like the situations that go on during the game. And then lastly, and probably most importantly, AI has come a long way to help with like injury prevention in football. So I know Rydell actually has an AI that will scan players' heads and it will determine the best fit for a helmet, and it'll basically generate what helmet and how the helmet should fit on a player's head. And then another big thing is NFL teams and big college football teams are using something called a catapult, which basically tracks how much players are running and how much output they're generating during a week or during over a season. And it gathers all this data, analyzes it, and will help coaches see that, hey, this player is running 10% slower than he did 2 weeks ago. We should probably work him out less or practice him less so we can get him full speed again. So it's definitely a big thing, and it's really new in football as of right now.
All right. Any question, comment about AI? Right, great. A lot of what is that? A lot of applications in AI these days. I want to emphasize these 2 points. AI, okay? How do you distinguish? Team 6, how do you distinguish AI from the traditional information technology? Yeah, AI is different from the traditional technology of information technology, right? You say AI. Why? What makes AI different?
I think AI, in my opinion, it's just able to take something and actually do something with it. It's not just information. It's able to, machine learning has advanced into the context of it's able to apply essentially like decision making skills within a machine.
In a simple word, learning. Learning. Okay? So think about that. Traditional information technology is not learning. It's an input, process, output. Okay? This is traditional information technology. All the computer languages are same. Input, process, output. But AI is different. Okay? Input, learn, output. Okay? Input, learning, output. Inputs are data, not just program. Okay? Input, data. So AI eats data a lot. Okay? Data is the food of AI. AI learn from the data. Okay? So this is a big difference between AI and traditional technology of information. So that's why AI has a big implications. It learns without process, without program. Okay? So also think about the data. AI eats data. So if we don't have enough data, it's a big problem for the development of AI. But recently we have what? Big data. Okay? Data. Big data. How do you define big data? Three V's. Three V's. Volume, velocity, variety. Okay? So data is getting larger and larger and variety. Okay? That's why we can see the development of AI. All right? So this is a concluding remark of your AI. Great. Thank you so much. All right, then let's move. Next one is quantum physics, team 1. Who is gonna be the presenter? Who will the presenter, please? Team 1, actually. Team 1. Okay. So Guillermo, you are the presenter right now, so you can control PowerPoint slides. The bottom right, Guillermo, you'll find the share screen button.
You see my screen now?
No. Yes, it should. Your system is working. So please find share screen button. Bottom right.
Yes.
You will see 4 buttons right now. How many buttons can you see on the
I
bottom?
can see 4 buttons. I'm able
Yeah,
to
4 buttons. The far right one.
yes, I'm able to press share. It's just as soon as I share, I get a code error that I'm unable to.
Oh, probably your system is conflicted with the other one. So who else wanna try to be the presenter? Okay, Whitney. Okay, now Whitney, you are the presenter. Please try. Okay, it's working. Quantum physics.
Okay, so Team 1's topic is quantum physics. Our presentation will be going over the definition of quantum physics, how
Okay.
quantum physics applies to us as a technology, as well as in leadership and management. And we'll end the presentation with implications for the future. Quantum physics is the study of matter and energy at the most fundamental level. The advancements of quantum physics and quantum technology has come a long way since its origins in quantum theory with Max Planck's introduction of the elements of discontinuity in the early 1900s. There may be some examples of technology that you may not have known were quantum technology, such as lasers and solar panels. Whitney will elaborate on some other examples later on. Now, there is a major advancement in quantum technology coming within the decade, and that's quantum computing. This disruptive innovation will be leveraging some unique properties or quantum phenomena to make a leap in computing power. Quantum computers are expected to bring us closer to real-time supply chain optimization solutions and complex simulations to assess molecular interactions for drug discoveries. At the center of this increased computing power are qubits. You're probably already familiar with bits in some way, often illustrated like you see on the PowerPoint as independent switches that either represent a 1 or a 0, but qubits are a little bit more complex, where the outcome of 1 or 0 is dependent on a probability based on the superposition of the two states. Add more qubits, and a probability distribution is created of all possible states of 1 or 0. According to IBM, qubits can create complex, multi-dimensional computational spaces to solve the world's complex problems.
All right, this is the most important feature of quantum physics in terms of the quantum technology. Bits, binary bit, 0 or 1. All the computer systems, all the computational systems, okay, is a predetermined 0 or 1 binary systems. But in the qubits, There's no predetermined 0 or 1. Okay? 0 or 1. It is not predetermined. Then this feature, probably it is not easy to understand at this point, but this feature actually can enhance a lot of computational capabilities because it's not predetermined 0 or 1. It can be anything 0 or 1. Okay, in the computation purpose. Okay, so it is very important feature of quantum physics. Okay, thank you. Marco, please go ahead.
I'll pass this on to Whitney as she elaborates on more applications of quantum technology.
All right, somebody's talking. I cannot hear you.
Here, I'll have to unmute myself and then go back to the presentation. Sorry. Can you see my screen okay from here?
Yes.
Okay.
I can see.
Perfect. So I will talk a little bit about how a lot of things around us rely on quantum physics. And so hence the title there, it's all quantum. And then additionally, I'll be addressing what the quantum world can do for business. And James McKenzie, he was the vice president for business at the Institute of Physics from 2016 to 2020. And so he writes a lot about how the quantum world is connected to business. And so quantum physics actually underpins modern computers, which is an important part of the business world. In addition, non-volatile solid state storage systems. And so this is what allows us to like turn off our mobile phones, USB sticks and memory drives, or actually entire data centers without the stored data getting erased, which is obviously another important component to business of all different types. And additionally, quantum physics has given us things like magnetic resonance imaging, so MRIs, atomic clocks, and satellite navigation. And atomic clocks are actually a really important part of like crypto banking and things like that. And additionally, new advances in computing, sensing, imaging, and communications, all related to quantum physics, can help to solve global issues like climate change and also disease. And next, just some more applications to business and why it's important to continue funding in this area. One is quantum computing and security, which, to quote from McKenzie, this will let us keep networks secure thanks to advanced algorithms as well as quantum keys in the form of entangled photons. And so just to kind of put that in basic kind of plain language, it can help to see if an unauthorized person has looked at a specific key, which is really vitally important for secure communications, and then also with banking, right, assisting with secure ways of sending money, and both of those relationship to banks and then also secure communication. Those are obviously both really paramount for work in the business world. And so just to recap, I talked a little bit about how quantum technology is really important to business. And so governments around the world, right, as well as the private sector, should really continue to fund research regarding quantum physics. And next, we'll look a little bit about how quantum physics can work with leadership. So I will pass it on.
Okay, so how does quantum physics work with leadership? So Randall Carlson, the dean at the University of Johannesburg, said that the ambiguity that business leaders operate in is encapsulated in mathematical models developed by the advances in quantum physics developed in the early 1900s. So what he's basically saying is that the advances in these quantum physics eventually led to us improving our own technology, and at the same time, the models of mathematics also were getting better, and improving our forecasting, scenarios, decision making. All of that led to kind of like a lean over effect where one tilted on the other, and improved all of them all together combined. Now, the improved decision making and forecasting and technology all working together eventually led to a new management process called quantum leadership. It's fairly new at this point. It basically just combines traditional leadership with recent discoveries in quantum physics and neuroscience. It also allows you to be proactive and responsive and encourages your innate ability to identify, adjust, and respond to uncertainty and complexity. And now I'm going to pass it on to Catherine, and she'll discuss and go more in detail about quantum leadership.
Like Roger said, I'll be going more specifically into leadership and what the quote quantum leader looks like. And this was also for the same interesting article that Roger talked about. So basically, in simple terms, quantum leadership is taking the principles of quantum physics and recognizing that they apply to not only our world around us, but business and therefore leadership and management in business. And it's basically a shift away from Newtonian leadership, which is kind of centered more around the belief that companies and the markets that they're operating in are more predictable and stable and controllable, which we've definitely learned from this course and from our textbook readings that that is not the case. And there is a lot of uncertainty in markets and that companies deal with, whether it be from different events that happen in the world that affect the economy worldwide, or whether it's a strategic change from a competitor that then causes our company to have to change our strategy. So the quantum leader really understands that there is uncertainty present and they just kind of embrace it and are able to operate effectively in the midst of the chaos that that sometimes brings. And they do that by just staying adaptable, staying flexible, both with just the way that they operate and manage their teams as well as their strategies. And like we've talked about, or we've read about in the textbook, how planning strategies ahead for the future can be really effective. So the quantum leaders are prepared for what may come and describing them as forward thinkers there. So I will pass it back to Roger, and he's going to talk a little bit about the future implications, and then I will be back to kind of close this out.
Thank you, Catherine. So the future implications. So as of right now, it is hard to predict exactly how quantum physics is going to affect our future, but I mean, it's no doubt that it's going to have a profound effect on the future in business and in many industries, actually. So beginning with that, talking about cybersecurity, kind of circling around how the technology is going to basically manipulate these photons to store and share information on a subatomic level, meaning it's going to be like like Whitney talked about, the quantum keys is also going to improve that kind of banking and cybersecurity method. Moving on to also the quantum computing is going to improve, and it has improved already, but it's going to keep continuing to get better in the healthcare industry. So by MRI scanners and radiography, it's going to like uh, improve treatment and discovery of cancers and things like organ treating. Help study viruses, so new and upcoming viruses like COVID is going to benefit from that. It's like the innovative technology can let us either be responsive or be able to find and study it at a microscopic level. And increased data processing also will help to improve growing the economies globally, because I think I read an article where it said that it's going to be pretty much able to process data at seconds levels, which is insanely fast compared to what it is now. So banking, economy grows, hugely beneficial to everyone. And then last, going back to one more time to the quantum leadership, this quote was pretty interesting. It talked about how important this is going to be in the future. So Daly says that business schools need to develop a new kind of business leader that can consider all possible outcomes. They need to be adaptable enough to function in a world in which outcomes may well be counterintuitive.
So in closing, we really just wanted to kind of base our presentation on the fact that even though quantum physics is a very abstract and complex and hard to understand topic, it is very relevant in the world around us and also to us as MBA students, no matter what part of business we're going into, and as well in leadership applications. So we've defined quantum physics in hopefully simpler terms and talk more specifically about those applications. So if you want to read more about it or how it can apply to you and maybe your future career, you can see these interesting articles in our Works Cited page.
Okay, any question, comment about quantum physics? All right, quantum physics. Actually, the fundamental question about quantum physics is very simple. The light. Any light. Light, is it particle or wave? Is it particle or wave? That was the first question about quantum physics. The light, is it particle, wave? Wave. Based on the quantum physics, it can be a particle, it can be a wave. It depends on the watcher. So it was very weird. Okay? It was very weird. Then, this is not predetermined. Particle, wave, we don't know yet. This is not predetermined. This philosophy, this observation actually applies in many fields, like information technology. 0 or 1 binary, not predetermined, qubits, something like that. Okay. Then we see the development of quantum physics. In the IT, okay, why we care about quantum physics? Because it improves a lot of computational capabilities of computers. Simply enhance computational capabilities. If we have a drastically greater computational capabilities, we can solve many issues we currently have. Something like a security issues. Okay? I'm not going to talk about mechanical things, but if we use a quantum physics, quantum computers, we can create all the bitcoins endlessly without limit. So that's why we care about it. It changes a lot, the world. Okay. All right, then let's move. Who's the next? Team 3, Biotech. Who is Annie? Annie, you are the presenter right now. Okay, great.
Okay. Good
All right.
evening, everyone. Tonight we will be going over the biotechnology drug development. Presenting tonight will be Hunter, Amy, myself, and Aiden. So where did this all begin? In 1919, a Hungarian agricultural engineer, Karl Erke, became the father of biotechnology and basically saw that there was a need to describe the merging of biology and technology. Urke's vision has been now realized by thousands of companies, and he foresaw a time when biology could be used for turning raw materials into useful products. So, what is biotechnology in drug development? A common medicine is a therapeutic substance used for treating, preventing, or curing diseases. Some of the most familiar medicines that we have are chemical compounds, which are pills, tablets, or capsules, such as aspirins, antibiotics, antidepressants, and blood pressure drugs. But biotechnology medicines are large molecules that are similar or identical to the proteins and other complex substances that the body relies on to stay healthy. These medicines are made using living factories such as microbes or cell lines that are genetically modified to produce the desired molecule. And on the left, you can see this is an example of insulin. They work exactly like being injected or infused into the body in order to protect its complex, since it's so the structure is different from anything else. And it gets broken down by digestion if taken by mouth. Now we'll pass it over to Amy.
Sorry about that. I had to unmute. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about sort of current state. So in the medical world today, how does biotechnology and the drugs that are developed there work? So it starts with researchers really working to understand, how does someone get a certain disease, or how does a certain disease occur? And then specifically, what cells are involved in that disease, and are there genetic components? So how do disease cells look and act compared to normal ones? Are there certain genes that are turned off or turned on in the disease process? Which proteins are involved? So which proteins are either present or absent in the healthy cells versus the disease cells? And then really most important is the chicken or egg component of this. So is the disease happening as a result of a change in the cells, or does the change in the cells actually create the presence of a disease? So the process to actually understand just the disease component of this, the genes and the proteins, can take many, many months. Often it takes several years just for the researchers to really work through all of this information. Once they have that information, they are able to then determine if there is a specific molecular target that is available for drug therapy. So an example of how this works is the drug Enbrel. So Enbrel is a drug that is used to treat rheumatoid arthritis. In some people, the folks who develop rheumatoid arthritis in their lifetime, their immune system overproduces a certain type of protein called TNF, or tumor necrosis factor. And the overproduction of that protein creates a scenario where the excess TNF protein ends up settling and storing inside of the joint spaces within the body. And the storage and buildup of those proteins creates joint stiffness, can create the pain, swelling, and if left untreated, will eventually cause permanent joint damage. So Enbrel actually goes in, it's infused into the body, and it attaches itself to the excess TNF proteins, and then it blocks their ability to actually settle and store themselves in the joint and prevent the joint damage from occurring. So I'm going to hand it off to Aiden to talk a little bit about the business aspects of biotechnology.
Thank you. All right, so the business of biotech. Biotechnology is not the same as pharmaceuticals, and they're kind of often talked about in the same breath, and even investors kind of have the same vision for those two. But biotechnology actually refers to, and this was touched on earlier, anything derived from living organisms, and that includes things like beer, wine, and laundry detergent, and then really anything made with plastic, which I found very interesting. One example, though, because obviously they do crossover. When you hear biotech, you think about big medicine. So Johnson and Johnson is seen as both a pharmaceutical and a biotech company. Can you go to the next slide? But that is a very broad definition, and because of this, biotech as a whole is a huge market. By 2030, it's expected to be worth around $1.7 trillion in the U.S. alone. Could you hit the next slide, Amy? Thank you. And with that big market comes a lot of regulations and strict guidelines for specific biotech drugs as they try to go through clinical trials. The process of bringing a new drug to market could take over a decade and maybe up to $1 billion in some instances. With that high risk, though, comes the high reward of money. And with the possibility of a high reward comes a lot of competition. So every company out there looking to invest into biotech at the cutting edge wants to be the company to bring the next blockbuster drug to market. And recently that's seen kind of a shift in focus from medicines that treat symptoms for maybe common diseases that people get, and rather people are going for, companies want to get the cure for cancer, for example, which is not a bad thing, but it's left some maybe treatable things neglected. That's all for that.
So I'm going to be talking about the future of biotechnology, where we heading in the next 10, 15 years, some factors shaping biotech's trajectory, a few things such as economic, social, and political factors are likely to influence the pace of research and availability of biotechnology. In 2019, the global bioeconomy accounted for $5 trillion, which is roughly about 6% of the global GDP at that time. By 2030, that number is expected to grow to 20 trillion. So a big jump there. International acceptance could increase funding and production of biotech, especially in like our current climate with COVID-19 and food shortages in other areas of the world. Consumer demand could quickly shift in favor of biotechnology practices. Next slide. So no surprise, but the future of biotechnology does involve artificial intelligence. Many diseases today do not have a cure due to lengthy and expensive processes that are required for drug discovery. AI could help scientists develop better medicine faster. Today, developing a drug could take about 10 years or so, with research and production and all of that being involved. Soon, scientists might be able to have drugs available to their patients within the span of a year with the help of artificial intelligence. They also hope to make medicine more personal for patients. So, in the not so distant future, scientists hope to provide medicine that is tailored to each individual patient through data that they collect through things such as wearables, medical records, and other forms of clinical research. And they want to figure out not just what drug works best for their patients, but at what time throughout the stage of their illness would be best, what sequence, so how often they need to take it, and then at what dosage.
All right, great presentation. Any question, comment? All right, better medicine faster, better medicine faster. I think it is a keyword of biotechnology. Okay, so chemistry, okay? The traditional pharmaceutical industry, it used what? Chemicals, the combination of chemicals. There's no clue how this combination of chemicals will work. There's no clue at all, no map. Okay, just combination of all the chemicals and try it and see it. That was a traditional way to develop a drug. In the biotechnology is different. Biotechnology is all about proteins. Proteins. Using proteins, we can guess how this protein works. We cannot guess precisely, but we can guess roughly. We have genome projects. Okay, so we can guess. That means we can spread net in a narrow range. That means we can reduce cost to develop a drug using biotechnology. That's why we care about biotechnology. Okay? So we talked about several technologies so far, but the common feature of technology is very simple. Once again, we go back to our generic strategies. Technologies reduce cost, increase product differentiation. That's why we care. Biotechnology, okay, quantum physics, and battery technology, AI technology, whatever technologies, it is common that you reduce cost, increase product differentiations. That's why we care about that. Okay? So keep in mind why we are talking about technologies, why you should, MBAs, you should know, you should have the sense about the technology. Okay? All right, who's up next? Team 2. Maggie will be the presenter, right? Okay, Maggie, now you are the presenter. Hey, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology.
Yes, so we're gonna do our presentation on cryptocurrency, and it's me, Carrie, Marie, and Ryan.
To start, we're going to define kind of what cryptocurrency is. You have it's a digital or virtual currency. It's any currency, money, or money-like asset that can be primarily managed, stored, or exchanged on digital computer systems, mainly over the internet. By doing this, it has to be secured in some way. So it's secured by cryptography, which provides secure communication to avoid malicious third parties or hackers. This encryption uses algorithms and a key to change any kind of plain text into a cipher text or encryption. And the algorithms are considered to be secured if any attacker is not able to translate the plain text from the cipher text. So they have to be sure that there aren't any repetitive keys or repetitive text in the cipher to be able to get to the plain text. And then these are not issued by any kind of central authority. Cryptocurrency doesn't exist as any kind of physical form like paper money, credit cards, or anything of that nature. It's typically just used on through internet traffic, and it's not managed or issued by any kind of central authority. Now on the next slide. Just like we just talked about, it's an alternative form of payment created by using these encrypted algorithms. Cryptocurrency relies on technology or blockchains, which are decentralized. The way blockchains work, funds are sent between digital wallet addresses, and then the transactions are recorded into a sequence of numbers known as a block. Can be confirmed across the network. And blockchains don't record any kind of names or physical addresses, only transfers between digital wallets.
Thanks, Gary. Now that we have like a little bit of a basically background of the cryptocurrencies, I want to hit on some of the advantages. So first, the cost-effective transactions. So with these cryptocurrencies, the transaction fees paid by a given user are reduced to a minimal or zero amount. And it does so by eliminating the need for third parties such as Visa to kind of verify these transactions. So next, the self-governed or decentralization piece. So the transactions are stored by developers or miners on their hardware, and they keep transaction records accurate and up to date, and further keeping the integrity of the cryptocurrency and also the records kind of decentralized. And so the decentralization piece helps keep it stable and secure, unlike currencies that are controlled by a given government institution. And the next is the reduction of transaction frequencies and improved transaction speeds. So these crypto transactions can be completed in a matter of minutes. And once the block with your transaction is confirmed by the given network, it's fully settled and the funds can pretty much be used and accessed. So the fourth piece is the security and privacy aspect. The blockchain ledger makes it difficult to decode and kind of like relies on different mathematical puzzles. And it makes cryptocurrency safer than ordinary electronic transactions because of the complexity behind them. And then lastly, the inflation protection aspect of it. So many individuals see cryptocurrency as a way to protect against inflation. And with many of these coins, such as Bitcoin, they have a hard cap on the number of coins that will actually be produced. So I'm going to pass it over to Maggie to talk a little bit about the disadvantages.
Yeah, so unfortunately, there comes some big disadvantages, and the two main ones being theft and money laundering. So I had seen this in the news and thought I would talk about it, of Sam Bankman-Fried, who founded FTX, which was a cryptocurrency trading company. He, by the way, has made it so big that he now goes by his initials, SBF. He founded FTX in 2019, and a majority of their assets were secured in FTT, which was their form of cryptocurrency. And that was found out when FTX was at its height in 2022 at $40 billion in cryptocurrency. So after the public found out that their assets were secured in FTTs, the value of those plummeted, and therefore SBF resigned in November 2022 because the value of the company had gone down significantly. After his resignation, FTX filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and then in December of 2022, SBF was arrested on fraud charges for misusing clients' funds and misleading the Security and Exchange Commission. So basically, they figured out that SBF had been using the funds from the crypto empire for his own personal use. And then on December 13th, 2022, it was revealed that he was actually arrested on 8 other charges previously. Those included wire fraud, conspiracy to commit security fraud, money laundering, and defrauding the United States. And then on December 22nd, he was released on a $250 million bail, and he is currently residing in his parents' house on house arrest and is awaiting his trial. So I just thought that was kind of an interesting way to show that there are significant disadvantages to the cryptocurrency world.
Okay, so if you're like me, you did not realize that there was multiple types of cryptocurrency until we started doing the research for this presentation. So I thought I would go into a little more detail on the 3 most popular types of cryptocurrency, those being Bitcoin, which we're the most familiar with, Litecoin, and then Ethereum. And you can go to the next slide. Okay, so Bitcoin was actually the first cryptocurrency that was founded in January of 2009, and it was created by Satoshi Nakamoto. And as of November of 2022, its market cap was 318 billion. Next was Litecoin, which was founded in October of 2011, and it was created by Charlie Lee, and its market capitalization was 149 billion. And then Ethereum was in July of 2015, and it was created by Vitalik Buterin. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And their market capitalization is 5.5 billion.
Okay, nobody knows who Satoshi Nakamoto is. Nobody knows it. So I can say I'm a Satoshi. Just kidding. All right. Oh, probably you don't know it. Actually, nobody knows who Satoshi Nakamoto, the inventor of Bitcoin. Okay, nobody knows it. So anyone can say I'm a Satoshi, something like that. Okay, please go ahead.
And that is our presentation.
All right, great. All right, so Bitcoins, okay, Ethereums, cryptocurrency. You need to understand the basic technology of blockchain technology to understand these coins. Okay, blockchain technology is a simple technology. Okay, there is a central system and terminals. Okay, usually our network has it. So, for example, Berry College, it has a central system in the center of Berry College. Then we have terminals to connect with the central system. But blockchain technology, okay? So when you update any information, usually in the traditional system, we updated the information in the central system only. Then terminals connected, retrieve information. But in the blockchain technology, okay, logs, everything is updated, all the networks, okay? So every information, every transaction information is updated, all the networks. That means we need a lot of computational capabilities, okay? These computational capabilities should be provided by your computers, okay? So if your computers enhance these computer capabilities, you will have, at some point, you will have a certificate. This is a cryptocurrency, okay? All right, so when I taught blockchain technology about 10 years ago, I usually talk about blockchain technology and cryptocurrency was the additional one. But these days, cryptocurrency is the main and blockchain technology becomes additional one. So it is the opposite. It is changing. So I just want to mention about that. All right, great job. Okay, then we have the very last team 4. Who is gonna be the presenter? Okay, Naomi, you are the presenter. And Internet of Things, the very last team, everyone, please. Please go ahead, Naomi. Oh, these topics are so broad. So actually, I can take several hours for each topic, but we don't have enough time.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, Internet of Things.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Great. I'll start us off. This is talking about the Internet of Things, speaking specifically about the utilization of a more connected system, both in our personal lives, but also in the business space. You can go on to the next slide. So the interconnection via the internet of computing devices embedded in everyday objects is kind of the definition presented by businesses, but specifically just a neat fact is that there's 13.8 billion units as of 2021, but it's expected that there's going to be 30.9 billion units by 2025. That's more than double. Yeah, we can go on to the next.
All right, good evening. In our Internet of Things presentation, we're going to be reviewing 5 different interaction key points that best summarize how Internet of Things is connected to all of us. So our first point will be human to human. We're going to discuss device to device, human to device. We'll move to business integration, and then kind of in an irony of comments, our disconnect movement. Next slide, please. Our first connection is with human to human. I'm going to take a moment and go over one of these bullet points, and then I will hand it to Kevin. But as connected beings, that is through the collection of creators, enablers, and users. We see this in medical care, devices connected to patients that alert doctors in real time. So in many of the electronic medical record system, you're able to send notifications to your physicians, but also in this day and age, you're also able to do telemedicine visits, which allow you to be similar to what we're doing right now, be on a screen with one another and have a real-time doctor's appointment. And Kevin, I'll pass it off to you to finish this slide.
So relationship social dynamic, it just allows people to communicate over any length of distance, texting people in the same room, social media, people are able to stay in touch, communicate. People are communicating long after departing, whereas before, people would have lost touch a long time ago. In the work education settings, people are working remotely. There's synchronous learning, such as Barry's MBA program. People work from home, even investigate remotely. In law enforcement, they use radios to communicate, whether it be, officer to officer, dispatch to officer, or between different agencies. And this becomes even more important, like with the big active shooter events where fire, EMS, and officers don't really know each other. And then sometimes for calls, they're using just their phones for those small reports like stolen items, or during the COVID crisis where they were trying to stop the spread of COVID. You can now even text 911 so that you can do it discreetly, and might not want somebody knowing you're calling 911. And you can go on to the next slide. Devices communicating and exchange information with one another over a network. D2D communication was initially created and standardized for public health scenarios. And then in law enforcement, police body camera footage, we wear it on our bodies for calls and communications, which connects that footage to a cloud system for us to later review. And these devices are also accessible live as they're happening for dispatch and supervisors to watch live and to keep an eye on the officers and know they're safe, like if the radios fail or in that kind of situation. And I will pass it on.
Okay, so today, D2D communication includes a massive range of devices from heart monitors to automobile sensors that know when your tire is flat. Odds are these smart devices are probably in your homes, communicating through local Bluetooth and Wi-Fi networks. For example, Apple's products, they connect and communicate seamlessly with one another, whether it's AirPods, MacBooks, phones, keyboards, the electric stylus. They also work with non-Apple products like TVs and wireless printers, which is what makes IoT so useful to the consumer. So yeah, I will pass it on.
All right. Human to human, human to device connections. There's been an overwhelming frequency of humans to start integrating devices, not only like a cell phone or a computer, but actually integrate the device into themselves. So some businesses with high security clearances, businesses that have a necessity to keep things private,
have started including HID devices, human interface devices, like small RFID chips and NFC devices into their skin, whether it's subdermally in the palm or wrist, to be able to scan into secure locations. This prevents the theft, or hopefully prevents the theft of that sort of device, and prevents security breaches in the future. And then I will hand that back to Matt.
Yeah, so then these human interface devices, I mean, pretty much what we're looking at is mainly just like how the humans are interacting with the different kind of things that are available for us to utilize when it comes to all the technology that we have. You're pretty much looking at like how we experience with ourselves and the computers. So like in a healthcare setting, you're looking at all the different technology that's at the nurse's station with their computers. So they have all the stuff that can connect to those computers. But then you also have the stuff that they use in the patient's room, all that kind of technology. In a police department, looking at the computer systems in the cars that the officers are able to use, and just kind of stuff like that. And then I think we have a little video that we're going to play that really capitalizes on some of the interactions that we have with some of our technology at some times.
Sure. Oh man.
Yeah, so that really capitalizes on sometimes when the stuff doesn't work, the experience that we have with some of our computers and the different technology that we utilize. But thankfully, here lately, we're getting into more of a user-friendly interface than it used to be. But so sometimes some of the stuff works a little bit better. But I'm going to pass it back to Zane so he can talk about our disconnect movement.
I'm going to talk real quick about business integration. So sometimes we do get difficult devices like the printer seen in that video, but using the Internet of Things is essential within the corporate environment. So we see this with market leaders like Amazon, UPS, Google, and even the government. Some pros to using Internet of Things in business are further automation, so enabling companies to automate processes and reduce labor costs. Internet of Things also cuts down waste and improves services, making it less expensive to manufacture and deliver goods, which also improves customer experience. This also helps managers make informed decisions, as we've read about in case studies. But there are also cons. So hacking is a potential con. So as more devices are connected and more information is shared between them, there are higher chances of hacking and losing confidential information. If there's bugs in the system, this could spread to other connected devices. And additionally, there is no international standard of compatibility for IoT, so it could be difficult for different manufacturing devices to communicate internationally. However, with these in mind, IoT is still one of the most important technologies and provides businesses who adopt it with huge competitive advantages. And so now I'm going to pass it off to Zane.
All right. To close this idea of the Internet of Things and the overwhelming connectability of humans with their devices being connected to devices, and then all the problems and success stories that come along with it, there's a movement now with just the overall saturation to disconnect from technology. There's vulnerabilities both on the human side, but also the business side. On the human side, there's a movement called JOMO, or the joy of being disconnected, joy of missing out. Just I guess, the pleasure that comes with not having to constantly be in contact with each other. there's also the idea of the disposability of technology. So maybe 20 or 30 years ago, it would have been considered a sort of James Bond type of device to utilize an AirTag, but now it's what, $15, $20, $30 at Walmart. It's truly a testament to the overall connectability and interconnectability of devices today as opposed to yesteryears. But there's also negative side effects emotionally. There's citations of overall increased levels of depression within teens and young adults by utilizing social media. But lastly, I want to look at the future. The future for technology and the Internet of Things is companies moving and nations moving towards do not disturb laws. Similar to Canada, Norway, France, and Mexico, there are laws being put in place on the government side as well as individual businesses to limit the amount of times and during the hours that a business can contact you when you are not at the job. That's just making it where employees have time off when they're supposed to have time off and not having to report to business when they don't have to. You can go on to the next.
Yeah, so there are some difficulties with being able to disconnect, though, as it becomes increasingly more popular for all of our stuff that we have, including our cars, our homes, with smart homes, the cameras they put up around the streets and stuff. It's becoming increasingly harder for us to disconnect, and and the pandemic made that even more difficult as it forced us to be online, doing online learning, working from home, stuff like that. And there's actually some businesses that are penalizing people for disconnecting. And that's where one thing Zane was talking about the future of is looking at where businesses can't actually like penalize you for that kind of thing. But yeah, the cameras, the smart home devices, so like the Nest system for your thermostat and stuff, everything's becoming connected, and that's like the easiest use thing nowadays. So it's becoming increasingly harder for us to disconnect. But I believe that is the last thing we had. So any questions?
Great. Internet of Things. Any question, comments? All right. Interesting. Yes, very interesting. Actually, my office is the Internet of Things. I have Alexa, my secretary here. I have my computer, phones, and the lights are controlled by my voice, everything. So it's good. It's good. Okay, networking. So the central word, keyword of Internet of Things is networking, right? Without networking, IT development is, very obvious limitations. So networking is a keyword of all the IT technology. So Internet of Things, I'm going to summarize what we have talked about. Okay? Internet of Things is all about networking, right? And then AI is all about learning, networking, learning. To maintain the networking and learning, we need a security, right? Security is all about cryptocurrency, blockchain technology. Okay? And then we need to improve this capability, we need a computational capabilities. That's quantum physics, quantum computers. Okay? So look at this. All of these IT technologies are intermingled, interconnected to improve what? Product differentiations and reduce cost. Then the applications of these technologies are biotech. Sometimes I'm confused. Biotechnology is really biotech or IT? I'm really confused when I look at more deeply and deeply. Okay? Because the way they work in the biotechnology industry, it seems like they are IT, not biotechnology. Just combination of information. And also batteries, the power to push all of this movement. Okay? So the technology, the subtopics we have talked about today are all topics are intermingled, interconnected. Why we care about this technology? as MBAs, as a business leaders. Why we care about it? Because it reduce cost, increase product differentiations. That's it. That's why we care about technology. Okay? In your jobs, anything can be technology. We talked about very fancy and expensive technology so far, but anything, if you reduce cost, increase product differentiation, anything, any technology can be a technology. Okay, keep in mind. Great jobs, great jobs. Any question, concerns at this point? Any comment? Yes, I agree with that. A lot of interesting information today. Okay, a lot of good discussions. Okay, then, if you don't have any question, comment, it's time to move to the exam, right? So it's a 7:46. So I suggest 5 minutes, 5 minutes break, 5 minutes break. So we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back. 7:52. Okay, 7:52. 5 minutes break. 7:52. We're gonna come back. right, we're gonna start in a minute. We're gonna start in a minute. We're gonna start in a minute. So Zane, how was the presentations?
Overall, I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, it was great. Okay, I enjoyed it too. There are a lot of information about the technology, big trends. Okay. All right, great. I hopefully everyone enjoys these presentations because technology is a great component of strategy management. Long-term plan. Okay. Big changes in the environment. All right, so it's a 7:52. It's time to come back. Please, everyone, come back. I want to start. Okay. So exam. Freestyle. We're gonna use Canvas. Okay. We're gonna use Canvas. Then I'm gonna give you 60 minutes for 51 questions. 51 questions, 60 minutes. Okay. Based on my experiences, observations, probably you will finish up the test very early, like 30 minutes, less than 40 minutes. Then when you finish up, you have free to go. Okay, you're free to go. You did a great job today. All right, then take a good break. So any question, concern about the test at this point before we start? Please let me know. Any question, any concern? No. Oh, what, you take it? No, you don't need to. Okay, it's totally up to you. I'm gonna start test on the canvas. So as long as you are okay with the canvas, I'm absolutely fine. But I'm gonna be here. I wanna be here. Okay. To what? If you have any question, concern, I'm gonna immediately react. So I'm gonna be here. So if you have any question, concern, just let me know. But it's totally up to you. You are here or not. Okay. Any other question, comment? Okay. So please go ahead, Canvas. Under the quiz, now exam. Now you can find exam, 51 points, 51 questions. Exam is available. Okay, exam is available. I'm gonna give you 60 minutes. 60 minutes. So as soon as you're ready, please go ahead, take the exam. Okay. On Canvas, you can start exam. Okay, 60 minutes. But you don't need to hurry up. Because you will have plenty of time, enough time. I'm pretty sure about it. Okay, so take your time. I'm gonna be here for your question or concern. So if you have any concern, let me know. Okay, I'm gonna mute my microphone for your test.